So Karen was, yeah, an amazing mum, amazing wife to me, very devoted to her family. She's a graphic designer, and yeah, unfortunately, I think it was July 2024, she got diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer. So it spread to the liver and the lungs at that point. So we knew it wasn't sort of treatable or curable. But yeah, she was an amazing woman, and I think during her time of treatment as well, you know, she used to sort of worry about things and that, but when you know, something really big happened, she was just so strong, and she sort of fought for every day. I think particularly for her boys, she would have she endured a lot of pain during the illness, but even so, she would have carried on for another week if she could, regardless of the level of pain she was in, just to be with us as long as possible. So she really turned positive, I think, even knowing what the outcome would be. But yeah, she was an amazing woman. I think it was probably around about the November time, October, November, because she'd had a tumour that perforated the bowel, and that kept giving rise to sepsis. So she had lots of times, probably 8 or 9 times, where we had to get an ambulance and get her into hospital quick. Then it was a case of going on antibiotics to try and sort of clear the sepsis, which was successful sort of many times. She endured an awful lot of pain, so I think it was sort of, yeah, there was one time in November where they decided a trip to the hospice was a good idea, partly to work on the pain as well, because the nurses here and the medical staff here are just better equipped to deal with pain and give the attention that was needed. So yeah, it was in November time, and she was very ill. I think at the time they thought she might be passing that time, but then she improved, and she was back late November, I think, or December, and we had Christmas together, and right up until March. So we had actually a fairly good period. She wasn't strong, she wasn't her normal self, but we still had a very good period where we were at hospital. And then, yeah, the following March 2025, then she tried some oral chemotherapy. She was trying to prolong life as much as she could. She wasn't strong enough for IV chemo or immunotherapy, even though they wanted to do that. She just wasn't strong enough because of the recurring sepsis. And then from March onwards, she sort of, she had spells into hospital, spells at home, spells back in the hospice. I think initially, although it was a lovely environment, it was very peaceful. I think, initially she sort of, she was worried because, it feels like, why am I here? Is it the end of life coming soon? But, the environment was much calmer, much nicer, better for visitors. We could even bring our little border terrier dog in as well that she adored. So yeah, but she did have some initial sort of trepidation and when coming in, but then over time she learned to sort of really like it here. She wanted to pass away at home, not in hospital certainly, and initially sort of preferably not in the hospice, but then as she got to really like the staff here and form relationships, she then decided that, either the hospice or home, she was perfectly happy to sort of pass away here, which she did. And we did enjoy coming here, we sort of came with the boys and their other friends and the dog, and we played different games. We played hangman on using the whiteboards and things. And there was a chance one time to use the cuddle bed for a while. And there was a few nights where I got to stay over, so they sort of put up a little bed for me. So it was nice, and at the time when end of life came, for me it was, I know if she had passed away at home, it's much more daunting, because being here you could just focus on being with her. Everything else was taken care of, so you could just be with her rather than have to concern yourself with other practicalities and things like that. So for us it was yeah, it was a godsend. It was. There were times, probably, you know, partly selfishly, where, you know, when she was sort of admitted to the hospice, I just knew that, you know, I could get some, yeah, make up on sleep, because we did have some difficult nights. I mean, there were a few. I think there was one night where I was up 11 times in the night with Karen. It wasn't always like that, of course, but we did have some nights as she was approaching sepsis again. So sometimes she just needed more care. And when she came in here, then, you know, I could come in and see her. Obviously, I'd come in and see her usually twice a day. But I could get things. Occasionally, she said, you know, no, you need to come and see me once. You know, you've got stuff to do, sort of thing. Because you've still got a house to run. I still had a job to keep down. Fortunately, you know, my employer was understanding I could work from home, which made a big difference, and just work as and when, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it made a hell of a difference for me, absolutely, as well. So, and like I say, I could focus on being with Karen and having nice times together during those last months, rather than, you know, having to worry too much about care and practicalities and things. So, and we managed, something I was going to do for Karen during at her 50th was to take her to the Ritz, but it was all during COVID time, so it wasn't going to be quite the same experience. But in the last 2 weeks of her life, we managed to get her to the Ritz, and we had an overnight stay at the Ritz. It was absolutely incredible, and she was on such amazing form. I was wheeling her around in a wheelchair at the time, but she ate more than me, she drank more than me. She was just, we went to Fortnum and Mason, and she was just she was alive with, you know, enjoying things. And we also had a party. We had a I think her ex-boss that she used to work for as a graphic designer said, well, why don't you have a pre-wake or something, she said. So we had about 70 people over at our house and the barbecue. Fortunately, friends run the barbecue, sort of thing, and we could have time together. And she'd done all these like goodie bags. So although she was like weak, where she found the strength, I don't know, but she ordered all this stuff in, you know, and got all this stuff, and she prepared all these goodie bags for, you know, various people, and she stood up and gave a speech. Yeah, and then, yeah, within a few days, she developed sepsis again and went downhill, and that was last time. But she went out with a blast.